It's Monday, February 25th, Tuesday, February 26th, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping right now at our Spaced Out Radio store, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. The final Monday of the month, we get all cryptid and eerie with Strange Days, a segment we do with Butch Witkowski, the founder and lead investigator with UFO Cop out of the state of Pennsylvania. If you haven't heard Butch before, you're in for a real treat, as he and his team search for some of the most primal areas looking for creatures like Bigfoot, Dogman, and these large, strange bipedal canines that are roaming around state parks. It's a daily adventure for the former police officer, who also has his team investigating everything from ghosts to UFOs and ET abduction. The cases are numerous, the witnesses are plenty, but the evidence is thin, and the answers are none. So why keep up the quest? It's because there's something happening out there, and Butch wants to find out what it is that people are experiencing. So tonight we're going to get into it all, including the rise in popularity of missing people. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will be bringing you the news, and nightly now, on the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, hard to believe we're already 2 months into the year. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I am fantastic. Had a very good weekend. Got a lot accomplished on the business front, on the home front, and feeling like a new man tonight, my friend. Feeling like a new man.
Attaboy, that's the way to roll.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Butch, there's a lot of people, because since you were last on, we've gained 2 radio stations in California and in Oregon. And so this might be people's first time hearing about you. Let's learn a little bit about you and what you bring to the table. How did you get into this?
Well, my first sighting in 1988 in Tucson, Arizona, while I was living out there, was a very large craft hovering above a mountain. I was in the company of 6 other folks, and that's what started it. I mean, I made calls to everybody I could after we saw it, you know, like the Department of Public Safety, Tucson Police Department, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, media stations, you know, the whole 9 yards, and nobody had nothing. And I'm thinking, like, nobody could miss something like this. I mean, we're talking about a craft that was at least 3 football fields in length, 6 or 7 stories high. I mean, there's no way you could miss this thing hovering above a mountain. But nobody saw it but us 6 people standing there in my driveway. And I started looking into that, and pretty much got nowhere. You know, accumulated a lot of paper, a lot of books, and just kind of gave up on it. And then we had moved back to Pennsylvania because my son was going to give us a granddaughter. And I was watching a UFO show one night on TV, and the bug just bit me, and it's been there ever since. And it's at the point where I just made up my mind, I need to know the truth, and I'm going to find out the truth, or I'm going to die trying. And one thing led to another, so it went from, you know, I became a member of MUFON, thinking I would gain more knowledge, and what I did was meet a lot of great people, but I wasn't getting what I was looking for, so I started my own group back in 2009. And like-minded researchers from all over the country and across the pond. So then ufology led to cryptozoology. Cryptozoology led to paranormal, and everything just fell into place. And here I sit today. Here I sit today, dazed and confused. But been at it since 1988.
But you know what? That sentence, being dazed and confused by it all, it actually makes logical sense, considering the fact that there is so much going on out there, Butch, that we have zero answers to. We have experiences. We have some very shady video at times of these creatures. And when I say shady, I'm not talking that somebody's trying to pull the wool over, but there is a lot of that going on, and the rest we just can't seem to agree on. What is going on? Technology, as much as it's advanced over the last decade especially, we should be getting closer to something, shouldn't we?
And I think we are. There are a lot of theories now that didn't exist before, like with cattle mutilations. There's a researcher in Puerto Rico, a chemist, who has pretty much narrowed down why and what's being taken, and the reason why those pieces and bits are being taken from cattle. It all has to do with a certain chemical, which I cannot pronounce. But in every case that he studied, the parts of the animal that were taken all hold a great deal of that particular chemical. And he said if you boil it down into plain speak, it would be like adrenaline. And so could our space brethren be using that for some kind of a downer, a chemical that they absolutely need to exist in this time span and in this part of the universe? Don't know, but it's amazing what some people are coming up with. Of course, Bigfoot brings into that with the technology that you just spoke about. I mean, now we have so many different ways of taking a print that we would have bypassed before because it was too wet or it was too muddy or it was too this or too that. And so many chemicals now are out on the market that allow us to do that. You can take a cast in a snowstorm. So, of course, technology with infrared and thermal imaging, cameras, the blurry camera photographs, I don't necessarily blame on the camera. I'm not saying that Bigfoot or any of these creatures are interdimensional, that they disappear when you pick up a camera. I think a lot of it is folks that really don't know how to use the equipment that they have. And it is an advance. I mean, there's been a lot of advancements. You look at it this way, with all the stuff that's out there, thermal imaging is still the best because nothing can hide from thermal. So if you have a thermal imaging camera or device that does both photographs and video, which I recommend FLIR, you got it. I mean, there's your proof. You're not going to see the exact image. I mean, you're not going to be able to pick out pimples on its face, but you're sure going to see the size of it, and you're going to see the outline of it, and you're going to see the thermal image of it. And there's so many things that are coming. We have sprays now that we can spray. Let's say you're marking a trail, or you think you have a trail where you may have some passage in or out of by something. There's a chemical now that you can mix from a powder into a spray bomb and just spray both sides of that trail all the way up through. And if anything goes up or down that trail, you can see where the chemical has been wiped away. And all you got to do is turn on ultraviolet light. Pretty neat stuff coming out. And it's just one of those things where, it's slow going. You got to deal with the historical facts on everything, the background research on everything. Sometimes you get close. Sometimes it just takes you further away. But the researchers have changed, too, over the years. They've gotten smarter. They're willing to invest in the type of equipment that they actually need to use. So hopefully one of these days somebody will pop up with something that is indisputable.
And that's the argument of it all right now when it comes to absolutely anything going on regarding these topics, Butch, is how come we aren't closer? How come we aren't even getting near anywhere close comparatively to when we didn't have the technology, when we were still using, regular film cameras and nothing digital. We got drones now. We've got high-resolution cameras that we're taking into the field. There is a lot of really cool technology. We got FLIR. There is so much going on that we have, and you've got probably, $100,000 worth of equipment looking for these things, whatever it may be. And yet it's not just you, it's nobody seems any closer. And people want proof today. They want to be able to have some sort of knowledge of what is going on outside of the experiences people claim that they are having. And is the field getting more difficult? Or is it are there too many people now doing this and it's fudging the real information that's out there? What do you think?
Well, I know. I don't have to think about this one. I know there are very few researchers out in the field. You have more researchers sitting behind their computer doing their research, and that's the extent of it. I mean, that's where it starts and that's where it ends. In all our travels all over the United States so far, the amount of people I have bumped into in the field is zero. There have been many books written about many creatures, many sightings, many UFO reports, but those people aren't out there. They're just not. So you have a handful, and I mean a handful or two at the most, of researchers across this country that spend more time at conferences and writing books than they do in the field, but they're the ones that people always see and hear about, either on TV or YouTube or radio or television or whatever. But the guys that are out there, especially in the middle of the country, from the northern part of the country down to the bottom of the Texas lines. I mean, there are researchers up and down through there. Although they talk a lot about all the Bigfoot reports in California, Washington, Utah, and all up and through the northern realm there. There's a handful. I know of 4 that are actually out. There's a gentleman in Wisconsin. He's out every weekend. And there's a couple of folks like that. They're out every weekend looking. But then on a general number of people out there doing it, not many at all. And I think that's until that changes, it's like you got the same old folks doing the same old thing, and we're not getting any younger. I mean, I'm 72 years old, so how much more time do I have running around in the woods? Most of the researchers I know are in their 50s and 60s. Now, there are a handful, 4 that I can count on that are younger folks in their 30s and 40s that are out there doing their thing. But if you don't have people looking and all they're doing is passing information from the computer to a piece of paper, to a radio show, to a TV show, to a movie, to a YouTube video or a podcast, I mean, that's gaining nothing from nothing. Where, I'd rather sit at a conference and talk to a guy who just came out of the field, and showing me what he's got. The hoaxing is unbelievable. I mean, at one point I thought the hoaxing was going down some, but nah, it's getting worse. I mean, people are having, especially in the paranormal realm, where the new trick is now you have your buddy stand back here and then you shine a light to get his shadow on a wall and just have him move back and forth and kind of disappear, walk out of the room. So now you got a shadow being, and that's a big thing, and that'll go on for months. People will be calling in and writing about it and putting it all over YouTube. There's just so many things. The one that kind of tickled one of my researchers, he sent it to me, and I had to laugh, where this guy said that, there was some odd things going on in this it was actually an old store, an old, 5 and dime store in the Midwest. And he had all this cameras set up, to take care of this room where all this stuff was happening. And he said he would see like these stars would approach, out of nowhere and just fill the whole room. Well, hell yeah, he had his buddy up on the second floor throwing sparklers down. So, you fight the hoaxers, you go out there and you do your thing best you can, hope for the best, see what you can come up with. But again, it's putting those people aside. We have, I've got 9 reports in this week. This is Monday, Tuesday. From Saturday till today, I've gotten 9 reports on missing persons. Now, these cases some of them are old cases. Some I knew about, some I didn't. We've gotten 4 sets of prints that we have to go over yet. The one print, the foot size is 20 inches from toe to heel. The problem with that is there's only 2 toes.
Weird.
I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like that.
Almost like a camel toe.
Yeah, kind of. But, I mean, they're distinct toes, and there's 2 of them in the middle of the print at the top, and from the tip of that toe, the big toe, to the heel is 20 inches. So what are you dealing with there? What's that? The other print that we got is actually a hand print. Now, I got to give it to this researcher. I don't know the guy. I met him. I've just talked to him today, as a matter of fact, this morning. Smart guy. Saw this print on the back of his pickup truck. It's huge. I mean, it is huge. If you would take your hand and open your hand and just spread all your fingers apart, most people would come up with 5 to 6, maybe 6.5 inches. This thing was 12.5 inches wide. So he took the truck, parked it in the garage, called a buddy of his who's a cop. The guy came out and took the fingerprints. So he's sending them to a college that's lives near that's near where he lives, and they're going to put together and see if it is human or non-human. But he said, if it's human, this guy's got to be a monster in size. He said, but the funny thing is there are no dermal ridges around the whole print. There's only dermal ridges like in the center of the print, and then around the print it's clean. Now that's very unusual. I mean, criminals back in the day used to dip their fingers in acid to get rid of their prints or sandpaper them off. But this is weird. He just sent me one print, a photograph, and the print is, there's dermal ridges in the center of that print, but around it, it's smooth as silk. I mean, there's not even a trace of a dermal ridge. So we'll see where that goes. So there's a lot of strange things going on right now. The people requesting information on old cases of missing people, the strange prints that are coming in, strange sightings where a triangle is going from west to east over toward the Philadelphia area, and it's definite triangle. The guy's got a good shot of it, and in the video, it turns into a ball and just vaporizes. It just disappears. And it was a clear sky, no clouds. It wasn't very high. He said tops 10,000 feet, very noticeable, very description, as far as the camera took it and everything. And what the hell is that? Never heard of that before. I mean, I've seen them in the sky. I've seen them drop from the sky. I've never seen one, transform from a triangle to an orb, or vice versa, or transform into anything. I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, if you're watching an orb, it stays an orb. If you're watching something other than that, that's what it stays. But to see something a triangle, especially because of the size, and it was blocking out the stars. So it was there. I mean, it was nothing that was faked, and then it just turned into a ball of light, and off it went. So there's a lot of strange things going on right now. There's a lot of strange stories out there. And I'll tell you what, keeping up with this stuff is really starting to get to be a chore.
More people are we only got about 2 minutes here, Butch, before we got to go to break. Yeah, Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, the lead investigator for UFO Comp out of the state of Pennsylvania. He comes on the final Monday of every month. Butch, are people just noticing more? Are they taking more or paying more attention to these topics? Is that why we're starting to get more reports in?
I would say, yeah. I would think, yeah, because, look, you have how many paranormal shows on TV now? How many UFO shows on TV now? Ancient Aliens used to be like the only one to go to, but now there's like 4 or 5 different shows. And I think people are just asking questions, and some people are looking. And, of course, when they start looking, they'll always come up with the historical data. And, then they start making contacts to find out, what was this about or what happened with this. And I have one here on my desk right now where this is a case from, it's got to be 1997, 98, from the Pittsburgh area on a missing gentleman that turned up floating in the river. And he was gone for a long time. And he was in that river a long time, yet there was no decomposition to the body. And he was wearing the exact same clothes that he went off with.
Very intriguing. We're going to get more into missing men here when we got more time, and women, by the way, missing people in general, because it seems like there are a lot of people out there, Butch, who are really, really starting to look into this. It is weirding people out. People just want answers as to what's going on in the fields and the forests and the parks around North America. It's amazing how many people are going missing. We're going to talk to you about that here coming up. Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He is the founder and lead investigator of a group called UFO Cop. They are based out of Pennsylvania. You can find them at uforcop.com. That's uforcop.com. Don't forget, during the break, while you're listening to the promos and ads, go to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Time to do a little shopping. You need some of our swag. We'll be back with more Butch Witkowski's Strange Days right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi, George and Ori here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, This is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us as we broadcast from the captain's chair of SOR headquarters in the frozen Canadian tundra. Reminder to all of you, head to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Good place to go and do a little shopping. Pick up a t-shirt, hat, shorts, you name it, we got it right there at spacedoutradio.com. The first Monday of the month, make that the final Monday of the month, we have Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop coming in for Strange Days. Butch's website is UFO RCOP. That's UFOcop.com if you want to check it on out or you want him to take a look at something. Butch, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Not a problem. Anytime. We love having you. Butch, over the last number of months, there's been a lot of people starting to focus on these missing people reports. Maybe it's the popularity of the missing 411 cases that David Paulides has put together, and he's done a phenomenal job at researching a lot of these mysterious disappearances of people. Like 1 second they're there, the next second they're gone. But it goes beyond, Butch. A lot of these sightings of people who are there 1 minute, gone the other. It's more than just the forest and the backcountry this is happening. It's happening in cities. It's happening in town parks. It's happening on walkways. It just seems to be happening everywhere. What's your thoughts on what's going on with all these missing people?
Well, you know, if you take away all the what I would call the normal missing persons, which is the person that's kidnapped or the person that is, taken away for just to get disappeared for various reasons. You have the walkaways, people that are in homes and stuff like the infirm of mind that just walk away. And then you have people that are suicidal that just go do themselves in somewhere and nobody ever sees them again. I mean, there's a lot of normal excuses for that, but the most dominant are the ones like one case that just fascinates me, and I've run that thing down to the end. I mean, I can't go any further with it. A group of young folks in their early 20s, party of, I believe, 12 people, went to a local bar out in the Midwest, and go there every Saturday night. That was their thing. And the bar closes up like at 3 a.m, and they're all standing out front, and the one gentleman says, well, look, I'll go get the car. And they watch him walk into the parking lot. They watch him, which is like 30 feet away. And he doesn't come back. And he thought, well, maybe he had too much to drink. He passed out or something. They went there. Keys are on the ground. He was gone. Never been seen again. Gone. Just gone. Another case that's kind of fascinating is a gentleman who's, matter of fact, they still have a reward out for this guy. Big-time contractor where he lives. Everybody knew him. Everybody liked him. He lived back off of a main road about a quarter of a mile. So he jumps on his ATV, goes down to pick up the mail. He has a party going on at the house, a cookout. Decides he's going to run down and pick up the mail. He doesn't come back, so his one son goes down, and the ATV is sitting there. It's running. It's in neutral. It's parked kind of slanting off a hill where the mailbox was. He's never been seen again.
What do you think is happening to them?
Yeah, those are the cases that, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for. I mean, it's just, you don't have an answer for people just don't up and disappear like that. Like I said, there's many reasons people disappear. I mean, you can go from A to Z with why people disappear. But those cases where the person is in sight of other people or is only gone for 5 or 10 minutes, the young boy in Australia, that's another case that drives me crazy. A 4-year-old boy chasing his sister around his grandmother's house. His mother is in the kitchen looking out the front window. Grandmother's in the house. The little boy's chasing his sister around the house. They're playing, catch me. And sister comes around. Mother doesn't see the boy. She goes out to see where the boy was. He's never been seen again. There were neighbors down the street cutting grass. They lived on a dead-end street. Across from them was a park, a state park, federal park, whatever you want to call it in Australia. And it's surrounded by hedgerows of bramble bush. Basically, it's a natural fence. There's no way he could have got through there. And never been seen again. Now, first thing that came up was, is there a pedophile around? Well, yeah, there was. There was a pedophile who lived in that area, but he was at work. He was at work from 6 o'clock in the morning till the police showed up at 10 o'clock to make sure he was there, and everybody said, yeah, he's right here. He's been working all morning. So that took him out of the picture. No strange cars or trucks or anything went up and down the street. And to run around the house, when the little girl ran around the house to show the detectives, we were talking about 2 minutes to run around the house. So in a 2-minute period, when the kid passes his mom in the front window and she sees the boy and the girl, next time around the girl shows up, but the boy ain't there anymore. There are no large birds that would have carried him off. I mean, the kid would have been screaming. There are no animals in that particular area that would be a type of predator that would grab a kid. There was no blood, no damaged clothing, nothing. It's just stuff like that makes me crazy because there's not an answer. And, the police are doing their due diligence and the witnesses do their due diligence. Everybody's telling the story the way it was. And when you're all done, you look at what you all wrote down and you got a big zero. There isn't an answer. So is it people being taken by our space brethren, or are these portals more common than we think they are, where somebody just goes to do something and they accidentally walk into a portal and they're gone? I mean, they're just gone. It's there's so many people missing. Like you said, there's a lot of people missing in parks, but you got to think about that for a second, because parks are big places. I mean, our research area that we work in our bipedal research, it's 500,000 acres. Okay, so somebody getting lost in there, no problem. I can understand that in a heartbeat. But when you have, like you said, people missing off the street, this guy at his mailbox, the kid running around the house, the guy at the bar, I mean, that makes no sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And they're never found. I mean, there's nothing ever found. Some of the missing cases, like the one in Pittsburgh where the gentleman left the bar, and he was missing for a long time. And they found him floating, in a nearby river. And he was dressed just the way he left. There was no decomposition of the body, and death was caused by drowning. So there was no way, physically or forensically, that this guy was in that water that amount of time and didn't show it. So all this strange stuff that happens has been going on eons. I mean, there's cases. I can go back to cases where there was a village in Africa. I mean, they're still investigating that, and that was back in the late 50s, early 60s. All the guys got up
here in Canada, in the territory of Iqaluit, back in like the 1930s. There was an entire Inuit village that disappeared. Yeah. Fires were still burning. Clothes were still hanging on ropes, like they were drying out in the sun. And it was a village of a few hundred people just gone. Poof. No footprints around to see that they had just moved on. They were just gone. No vehicles, no airplanes, nothing.
That's what happened with the village in Africa. All the men got up, went to work. They came back. Supper was on the table. Supper was on the fire. Clothes were hanging on the line. Every man, woman, child, old person, dog, cat, whatever was there was gone. There was nothing there, nobody. Everything that they left in the morning was there, with the exception of people which were no longer there and have never been found. No footprints, no where somebody came in and kidnapped them or took them away, or nothing. They're just gone, just gone.
Yes.
One of the police reports that I was reading, it said where you can see where two gentlemen were playing like a game of almost like chess or checkers, but it's one of their games. And in mid-move, gone. Just gone. So when people say, well, Butch, how do you explain that? Now, there's no way I could explain that. There's no way anybody could explain it. If we could explain it, we'd have an answer to it, right? But you have the amount of people missing in the wooded areas in this country, and I'm sure up in your area, there's people are missing that people don't even know they're missing. They're just gone. I haven't seen John for a while. Let's go see John. Well, John isn't there. John hasn't been seen for 5 years. His house is there, everything's there, his car is there, but no John. Now, animal predators, yeah, there's been a lot of that. Matter of fact, recently there's been a lot of that, a lot of attacks. Bear and cougar out in those areas, but even they get found eventually. But when you're talking about the David Paulides type investigations where people go missing and they're actually seen, like the gentleman who's behind his son by a few feet, and the kid goes over a little mound of dirt, and the guy goes the other side, and the kid's gone. That's it. Never found again.
See, and you take cases like that, Butch, and they are out there where, a person just turns their head for 1 second and the person in front of them is all of a sudden gone. If it was a predator, you would hear them dragging away. You would hear screeches, sounds, something. Some sort of struggle, leaves rustling, tree branches breaking that have already fallen on the ground. It's too quick. It's way too quick the way some of this is happening. Do you believe then that with a lot of these missing people that are out there, do you believe they are maybe walking into different dimensions? They are potentially being abducted by aliens, that they have walked into another timeline? What do you think it is?
Being of open mind, it would have to be all of the above. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, for the bar thing just drives me crazy because this guy was in sight of those people. There were 12 folks on that porch. He was number 13. They watched him walk to the car. We're talking about 30 feet max. And then they just started talking amongst themselves, and they just realized that he didn't come back. The car wasn't there, so they actually thought he was that drunk that he fell over and passed out. When they got there, the car keys were laying on the ground, and he's gone. Nowhere. He just vanished. So could he have walked into another dimension? Yeah, if that exists. Could he have walked in through a portal? Yeah, if that exists. Could the space brethren took him for a ride? Yeah. Yeah, there's, you can go on and on, but nobody, Bigfoot's been blamed, predators have been blamed, aliens have been blamed, portals, dimensions, they've all been blamed, but proof, nobody has any. Nobody has any proof. The contractor, they've been running the same ad since the guy disappeared every day. 365. They've never changed it. The money's up to something like $100,000. It's been 10 years now. 10 years. Now, what would be freaky is if the guy came back and said, hey, I got the mail. Now, that'd be different, but it doesn't work that way. Look at all the time, effort, and money that have been put into looking for Amelia Earhart. With all the technology we have today, they're no closer in finding her than I am of hitting the lottery tomorrow. It's just strange. That airplane that went down, they haven't found that yet. They found pieces of it, but they haven't found it. Now, granted, it is the Indian Ocean. It is a little deep. But
I still think there's a conspiracy there, my friend. I am not convinced at all.
And I tend to agree with you there. But you look back in history where Donna Colvin just said Roanoke, Virginia. There's a prime example.
Yes.
You have people that are just gone. I mean, whole villages. We're not talking about 10 or 15 people. We're talking about, in some cases, 100 or more, or 2 or 3. So what happens to them? The Boy Scout troop, that was in the early 30s or late 20s, I believe. A Boy Scout troop out in Yosemite Park somewhere were on a hike, a weekend hike. The one boy went to get water off of one of the, I guess they had pack animals. He went to get water off pack animals. He came back to the camp, which when he left had 6 people in it. When he came, 6 people plus the adult came back. Nobody was there. Nobody. Gone. Never found them. So it's like an enigma. It's you can't rationally come up with one thing because it could be anything. And there are so many different types of disappearances. And putting all the normal ones aside, like I mentioned before, people walking away and suicide and all that stuff. But groups of people that are in sight of other people when they disappear, it's crazy. And I don't know why, but in the last week and a half maybe, I've been getting requests for cases that are from 47, 1997, 1977. Here's one from 69. And these are, people that just up and went missing. They want to know if there's anything that's come up since. Well, not that I'm aware of. I mean, these people are still gone. But when I was on the human mutilation cases, and just using the FBI's reports, you were looking at, a couple 100,000 people missing every year. I mean, that were never found. If 500,000 people went missing, half of those were found, either dead or just runaways, or, most of them were under the age of 18. Some were kidnapped victims, and so on and so forth. Some showed up dead, murdered, whatever. But it was that same 3 to 4% every year that goes way back to even when they started this, which is in the late 60s. And those reports that the FBI puts out every year are very specific. I know. I had to make those. I had to do those. And they want to know every crime that was committed in your bailiwick. How many bicycles are stolen? How many bank robberies? How many rapes? How many murders? How many this? How many that? They wanted those numbers. And it would take them a year to compile everything, so you actually got a year behind. But they never changed. I went back, I think, 12 years when I first started looking at them, and it comes up to 300,000 to 400,000 people are missing or never found again under any circumstance. No bodies, no clothing, no whereabouts, no nothing, zero, gone, out of sight. And that's just the United States. Can you imagine what it's like in a country like like Africa, a continent like Africa or Australia, or any place where large numbers of people are? And so in totality, what are we looking at? 10 million, 20 million people missing off this planet every year? That's scary. That's just flat out scary. And look, there's a lot of guys out there that are, police officers, that's their thing. I mean, they look for missing people. I mean, that's all they do. and you talk to them, and they'll give you the same answer I would. I have no idea.
We've got about 90 seconds here before we got to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days, is our guest tonight on the show. Butch, when we come back from the break, I want to get into this strange case of this young lad in North Carolina. I'm getting a lot of questions in the chat room about it, if you've followed up on that, because there was supposed to be a psychological profile happening in the coming weeks regarding that case. And also something else weird that happened very nearby was a lady was mauled to death. Like within, I believe it was within 10, 20 miles of that. And they, up until from the last I heard, they couldn't tell what killed this lady. Was it a pack of dogs, a pack of coyotes, a pack of wolves? What was it? They still can't. Or was it something a little bit more sinister, like our friend, the friendly neighborhood dog man? It's, we only got about 30 seconds here, but there's some real strangeness going on to have that boy say that he was with a bear when bears are supposed to be hibernating. And now this lady within relatively close of that vicinity, all of a sudden being mauled to death by something they don't know what caused it. Very weird. Butch, you hold on. We are going to get ready to go to break here. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days happen the final Monday of every month. Butch is the founder and lead investigator for UFO Cop out of Pennsylvania. His website is UFORCOP.com. Remember, during the break, good time to go to the Spaced Out Radio store. Get your swag on, because I want some pictures of you in our gear. We'll be back with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio right around the corner.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Ian Holt is back with another edition of Horror, Paranormal, and Suspense. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX, 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE, 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And on the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. I don't know if I agree with this one. Canuckophobia. Canuckophobia is your password. What, we're supposed to be allergic to Canadians around here, Clam? The Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Every final Monday of the month, we bring in Butch Witkowski for a little show we call around here Strange Days. Butch is the founder and lead investigator of UFO Cop out of Pennsylvania. UFOcop.com is his website. And Butch, right before the break, kind of teased a little bit. We got a lot of audience members wondering if you've been following the case in North Carolina where that young 3-year-old disappeared last month. And when they found him, he said he was safe because he was with his friend who was a bear. Now, a 3-year-old really doesn't know, what a bear or a Sasquatch or something like that looks like. Police have confirmed that he was not kidnapped and dropped back off. There was little to no damage. He was cold. He did have a tad bit of frostbite, but there was no hypothermia, which such a young lad probably should have got after 3 days out in the cold. Have you been updated on this story?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of researchers have been talking about it. One of the biggest things which is just pretty common, a bear at that point should be hibernating, even in that part of the country. A bear coming out of hibernation comes out for one thing, right? He's hungry. A 3-year-old child to a bear is lunch.
That's right.
Period. End of story. There's no way that anything's other going to happen. He's looking at that kid like an hors d'oeuvre. So pretty much everybody I've talked to has ruled out a bear. There's no way. No, it just couldn't be. I mean, even whether it was an older bear or a younger bear, it didn't matter. The bear's hungry; he's going to eat, and a helpless kid just sitting there looking at him is pretty much lunch.
That's a free meal. Now, and two of my best friends, Mike and Mark, they are outdoor people. They are wilderness people. They are hunter. They are guides. Okay, and I've talked to them exclusively about this. And they both said at this time of year, doesn't matter where it is, a child left alone like that is an absolute free meal for a hungry bear, because bears, whether or not they've decided to hibernate, they're hungry. Okay, they're hungry when they wake up. They are hungry because they haven't found enough food to hibernate for the winter, and they are aggressive and they are angry. And the fact that this bear went total Winnie the Pooh on this kid is a little ridiculous.
Yeah. So, and the weather and the circumstance in which he was found, like you said, the police ruled out anything nefarious. I mean, it was just, everybody's just kind of scratching their head. Now, the best we can hope for is that as the kid gets older, that he may get some kind of memory of what happened, what was there, what took care of him. But a bear, no way. I'm just not buying it. Nobody else is either. And then you brought up the lady that was mauled that wasn't far away. They still have not determined what caused the injuries. Now, that is absolutely frigging strange. They've taken blood samples, saliva sample. I mean, they've taken all kind of samples off this woman's body, and they cannot nail down what caused or what killed her. That in itself is just nuts. I mean, you can dig up an Egyptian from the Third Dynasty, and after a few tests here and there, you can pretty much tell what killed him. They have no idea what mauled this lady. They just have no idea.
What do you think it was?
I guess the first thing that comes to my mind is a bipedal canine, only because of the strength, how big they are, the whole bit. I would tend to lean to something like that type of an animal. It could have been a bear. They definitely ruled out a cat because they said there weren't any wounds of a cat. The way the one cop put it, he said she was just ripped apart. I mean, she was eaten, she was mauled, but she was ripped apart. So, the close proximity of those two things happening, strange. Now, I have never found a conclusive case where a Bigfoot has killed anybody, ever. The couple that are out there were both pretty much hoaxes. But that's a shot in the dark. I mean, they don't have any evidence of any type, which is strange. I mean, you would think they'd have saliva, maybe claw marks, bodily fluids at the scene of some type, but they don't have anything. There's just nothing. I mean, they just threw it up in the wind, and that's it. I mean, they have no idea. It's still unsolved.
Yeah, I mean, that lady's story is very weird indeed in regards to what happened to her, and just the idea and the fact that the investigators and the coroners are puzzled by what has killed her. I mean, it's just very, very strange, Butch, that in today's day and age, we can't figure it out, and yet we're not even looking at the possibilities of something strange and weird here, because they would be able to tell very quickly if it's dogs, if it's a pack of wolves, coyotes, if it was a cougar or something along those lines. You'd be able to tell. So what do you mentioned that you think it's a dog man. What gives you that idea that it could be that?
Historical cases that we found that date back late 1800s, early 1900s, where people were attacked, animals were killed, and the animals were just ripped apart. That's the only thing that put it in my mind that it could have been something like that. But, when a predator kills, it's killing for food. It's killing to eat. And unless it's defensive and, you just took a shot at it and missed. But I've seen pictures and video, forensic videos of animal attacks, what was left of an animal attack. And animals are just almost like humans when they eat. I mean, you're eating a chicken, you're going down to the bone, and that's pretty much what they do. They just take all that meat. They want the meat, the easy stuff. They're not going to, a wolf will go for the belly of an animal because it's soft. They have pictures of hikers that have been killed by bears. I mean, they were just eaten like I said, a chicken leg. But this woman was torn apart. Now, could there have been more than one creature, animal, whatever there? Yeah, could have been. But the best part? They don't have any prints. There's no prints around that body. So if that's where she was when she was killed, why are there no prints? There has to be prints. Nothing. They have no prints. They have no idea. The last police report that I saw on it, they have no idea what killed that woman. Absolutely none.
Right.
All they said is that she was basically torn apart.
Let's get to some questions from our audience here in regards to this. And I think, on a skeptical side, I like Eric's question at #SpacedOutRadio on Twitter. He says, Butch, shouldn't we have conclusive proof of Bigfoot or Dogman before we can have conclusive proof that he has killed anybody?
Yeah. With the bipedals, there is historical data that matches data from this time period. In 1868 in Erie, Pennsylvania, I think it was called the Erie Era or the Erie Gazette, something like that, a local newspaper, where a gentleman took a shot at a creature that was attacking his sheep in the field. He fired twice at it, and it ran off. Not a big deal, but his description is a big deal, because his description, if I laid it on my desk right now and took one of my reports that I have from recent and put it aside of it, they're identical. Size, color, shape, description, size, everything exactly the same, no different. So, although I get asked a lot, what do I think it is? I can honestly say I have no idea. But there's one thing that just keeps sticking in my craw, that we're dealing with a relic. We're dealing with something that's been there a long, long time, and it's still there. Now, it's kind of confined itself into that loop. And like I said before, we have no reports outside of that loop, which is very strange, because when you look at the historical reports, they were all over Pennsylvania and into Ohio and into West Virginia and into Virginia and Maryland and Delaware. Not many, and spotty, but they were there. But all 58 reports that we have from 2014 to date are all within that loop. And we have nothing outside of, not a sighting, not a visual sighting, not a story, nothing. Everything we have is inside that loop. So has this thing become a protector? Is it a watcher? All that is indigenous area. That was all Indian territory for, from the beginning, I guess. And there are many burial mounds. There are many war sites. There are many skirmishes from the French Indian War. There are so many things there. So the relic, is it a relic? Is it a skinwalker? Is it a watcher? Is it a protector? That we don't know. All we know is that people are seeing, these 58 reports all see the same thing, and it shows no fear. I mean, they've been accosted, walked up on guys that had high-powered weapons, and pretty much everybody said the same thing. I just had it in my mind I couldn't shoot. I shouldn't shoot. And when you say, well, why? They go because if I shot, I already knew in my head this was going to be a bad day. It's just not going to work out very well. So it's one of those things where it's another one of those mysteries that is out there. It's documented. It's been documented for a long, long time. And then just recently, we've gotten some reports from Oklahoma, but they go back a ways. They're back in the mid 1800s, early 1800s, of the same type of creature. And when you look at the area that they were seen in or reported in, were battle sites where it was Indians versus white man, that kind of stuff, or Indian versus Indian. So you have, in my mind, when I say relic, it could be a skinwalker, it could be a watcher, protector, but it's there. It's not leaving. It's been there. All the reports match. There's no differentiating the reports in size, shape, color, anything. They're all the same. And when I say that to people, they always go like, well, it got to be something different. No, there is nothing different. I can take our first report and put it to report number 58. They are identical. Different location inside that loop, different location, different scenario, but the same description of the animal. They've been seen close. They've been up close and personal, like I'm saying, within 20 feet. One guy was within 10 feet. So they're there. What are they? I have no idea. I mean, I didn't have a name for them. I didn't know what they were. I knew it wasn't a dog man because the dog man are all seen on all fours, fluffy fur, waggy tails, long fluffy ears. So they're probably feral dogs. This thing doesn't have anything like that. And the dogmen, when they're approached, they run away. They don't stand their ground. This thing doesn't move. It stands its ground. It does not take its eyes off you. I don't care what you're doing. It will watch you till you're gone. And that has come from law enforcement officers. That has come from retired airline pilots. I mean, people that should know what they're looking at. And all I can say is it is what it is, and it's been there a long, long time. I'm sure of that. I'm just positive of that. And mainly going on that, I think I was on my third report when I found that report back in 1868, and I just sat in my chair, and my mind couldn't comprehend something in 1868 was still roaming around in Pennsylvania, in the woods. Now, right. Erie from our loop, Erie, Pennsylvania, is not a great distance because the loop kind of goes from southeast to northwest. So did it just move on down into an area where now it feels comfortable? And it's there. We have found no carcasses of any animals, but I wouldn't expect to, because a lot of times a predator to kill a bear or a cougar or whatever, even coyotes, they'll take the kill away and hide it because they'll feed on it for days. So right. Unless we find something like that where we can match up a bite mark, from we know what a normal wolf should be. So if we have a bite mark that's larger and longer, then we know what we're dealing with there. But we've had impressions. We have not found any prints, but we have impressions. And eyewitness testimony. And all of the people that have testified to what they saw were all believable. We only had one hoax out of all of them, and that was she was pretty easy to pick out. But it's just, it is what it is,
I see that. Let's move on to another question here. This one comes from Catherine, who is asking, in regards to the young lad in North Carolina, why can't we just call this a miracle of nature? Why are we looking for Sasquatch?
I don't know what we're looking for. If you go by nature, this kid should have been dead. He should have froze to death. There was no way that child dressed the way he was. He was not dressed in winter clothing. He was dressed in house clothing. You know, he had on pants, underwear, socks, I believe, not sneakers, but like a boot, you know, like a kid's boot, and a shirt and a T-shirt and a shirt. He didn't even have a jacket on. There's no way he should have survived. You and I couldn't survive out there dressed like that. But, like you said, this kid, hypothermia-wise, was far from dying, hypothermia. He had the beginnings of a couple little spots on his body from frostbite. That was it. I mean, this kid was pretty much in great shape for where he was for 3 days. But to have a kid that age say that, you know, he was in the company of a bear, or a bear took care of him, or whatever he did say, I mean, no way. No way. Bear out of hibernation, first thing he's looking for is lunch, and that kid would have been lunch in a heartbeat. Plus the fact that you have other predators in that area too.
True, but what about a guardian angel that showed up like Winnie the Pooh because it was a kid? I mean, you know, it sounds ridiculous, Butch, but we do hear of these types of miracles all the time.
Yeah, that's true, and it could be. But being rational about it, I would say that something was there and something took care of that kid. Now, whether it was something that had wings and a halo, or, my angel left years ago. He just got the shits up and said, "You're done." He quit. But just the fact that what he said and what took place, and then you have, not far from where this happened, you have the mauling of this woman.
Right.
And they don't know what did it. They have no clue what killed this woman. And that was as of last week. They have no clue what killed this woman.
It is hard to believe. It is hard to believe on that.
Yeah.
Butch, on that note, we got about 20 seconds here. Finish off what you were going to say, boss.
No, I was just going to say, you know, there are so many scenarios you can come up with, but when you do, none of them make any sense. You know, they're just not the normal way that things would have happened.
Very understandable. Very understandable regarding that. Butch, you stay tuned. We are going to go to break here. At the bottom of the hour, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month, so make sure you stay tuned on the mighty SOR as we continue talking about missing people and your questions coming up.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else. including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Sitting in the captain's chair of SOR, headquarters of the frozen Canadian tundra, and we are glad to have all of you around wherever you are on this great planet we call Earth. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month as Butch comes in from UFOcop.com. He is the founder and lead investigator of UFO Cop, so make sure you check that out on the web. We're talking missing people tonight. We're going to get to some more audience questions in regards to this. Butch, welcome back.
Okay.
All right. Tim is asking, Butch, the attacks recently near Louisville, Kentucky, llamas twice, another attack last weekend too. Have you heard about them? What do you think they are?
The little bit I read, I think they're either coyotes, coy wolves, or a cat of some type.
Interesting. All right, let's move on here. Gail is asking, is it possible for Bigfoot and Dogman to be in the same area?
I guess it could be, but funny you brought that up. We were just talking about that the other day. We have no Bigfoot reports. There were prior to our first report back in 2014. Prior to that, we had Bigfoot reports in that area. We have not had a Bigfoot report in that area since 2014.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's get to Gail's follow-up question in regards to, the little boy. Could Bigfoot have been protecting the little boy from maybe a marauding dogman or other creatures?
Sure. Like I said before, I cannot find a valid report of a Bigfoot hurting anybody ever.
Have we found out the psychological or content evaluation of the boy's stomach that went missing? Has that gone public yet?
No. None of the tests they took on him have gone public. And I don't think they will because, Hippocratic Oath and all that stuff. And the only way that would go public is if the police would let it go. But as far as I know, nothing has come out. I mean, I know he was examined pretty much inside out, and he was treated for the little bit of damage that he had done to him. That was pretty much all they were saying about his condition, other than the fact that he was in good health.
Do we know of any cryptid researchers that went down to that area after they found the boy to see if there was any prints or walking trails by something big and bipedal like a Bigfoot? Because that would have to be there.
The only thing I know, I don't know of any particular researchers that went down there. The only thing I do know is that he was found inside a maze of thorny bushes, and there was no way he could have gotten into those without being, scratched and cut up pretty good. and they had quite a time of getting him out of that pile of whatever he was in. And
Right.
that's the only thing I know. That's the only thing I know about where he was actually found, was that he was in an area where, you or I wouldn't just walk in there, and he surely wouldn't be able to walk in there. So again, one of the theories was that maybe a Bigfoot put him in there to protect him from other predators, which wouldn't have been able to get to him, and stayed with him till they heard people, and then it took off and the kid was there.
Very strange. So close to home, too. That's what's very trippy about that.
Yep.
Right? All right, let's move on in the questions. Kevin is asking, did we ever find out if the boy had any hair or animal dander on him?
Police aren't saying any evidence that they did get or didn't get. They're basically sticking with the original story at this point. Now, that doesn't mean that something won't come out later, but at this point, they're just sticking with the original story that was in the newspapers and on the net and every place else.
Trip is asking in the chat room, did anybody mention about a smell, like a wet animal type smell that hasn't had a bath near the boy or around the boy or on the boy?
No, and, these were just locals and police officers, so I doubt very much if they would have even noticed anything like that. It was just, I don't know. It was just, the whole thing is weird. How he walked away, what he was wearing, how he was found, the condition he was in. I mean, it just all is kind of like ass backwards. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. But, I mean, granted, everybody's thankful that the kid is alive. And it's like we were talking the other day, and I just said, hey, maybe when this kid gets a little older, maybe he'll have some kind of recall and actually tell us what, who, or what all took place. So we can hope for anyway.
Yeah. Now, in Beaufort County, I'm not sure how far Beaufort County is from where this boy was. This is where 77-year-old Brenda Hamilton was found mauled and then eventually died from her wounds. Could we be looking at the same type of creature or something? Because in that area, has there been a lot of Dogman sightings or Bigfoot sightings?
No, none. Zero. None in that general area of I think the closest one was almost 200 miles away from that area, and that was a Bigfoot sighting.
Because I thought North Carolina was home to some sort of Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah, they are, but they're very sparse. A lot of people, they have a lot of wild hogs down there, and they're very large. And a lot of those have been mistaken for Bigfoot. It's almost like out in Arizona we had Avalina pig. I mean, they were huge. But something running through the wood that's big and hairy, first thing people come in their mind is Bigfoot.
But considering the circumstances being so mysterious, because this lady's attack, I mean, this isn't just in the cryptid news. This has been all over mainstream media as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest part of that is why it went mainstream is because nobody knows what killed her. They haven't got a clue. I mean, if they would have said, okay, it was a bear attack, or if it was a cat attack, a cougar or mountain lion or something like that, or a pack of wolves, but they can't even say that. I mean, and the last report that I saw, the conclusion of the police was, at that point, was they had no idea what killed this woman.
Yeah,
and she didn't live very long. Yeah, and she didn't live very long.
No.
And as a matter of fact, in the one police report says she was basically torn apart.
Yeah, that's kind of disgusting when you think about it. Is there anything in that area, though, animal-wise, outside of like a pack of wolves or a pack of dogs or coyotes, that could do that?
No, not that I know of. I just don't know. No, not off the top of my head. But now, when you think about an animal that could do that, if you remember just a few years ago where that lady was pretty much torn apart by a friend of hers had a chimpanzee. And that chimpanzee, like tore her face off and ripped off one arm and, the whole 9 yards. So is that feasible? Could that have been somebody's pet that got away?
Well, I mean, you look in Florida, there is, and granted it is Florida, there are a lot of reptiles and types of pets there that have been released into the public, either by natural causes like hurricanes and things like that, where people have abandoned their animals hoping for the best, and maybe the house was torn down and the cage ripped apart, the animal got away and survived. I mean, that's happened. Other people, they forget that snakes grow or monkeys grow or pigs or crocodiles or whatever in the exotic pet world. They forget how big and how vicious they get, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I'll just go put this in the swamp or in the forest and let it forage for itself. I mean, there is a lot of that in the United States because I don't believe there's a lot of exotic pet laws down there.
No, and you got to remember that all the circuses used to go down there for the winter. That's where they spent their winter months, and a lot of animals got away. And so, I don't know. Could be anything. I mean, it's just, chimpanzee attacks have happened a number of times. This one woman she was just one of many. There have been a lot of those where they've attacked their owners. So, there, just in the paper the other day, there was a lady killed by her 2 dogs. When they got to her, the dogs were eating her. 2 Rottweilers.
It is scary. It is very scary indeed in regards to that. I mean, you do have to be careful. You really do have to be careful with everything. So in your conclusion then, getting back to missing people and where they are going, what is happening, how much do you think, and we're going to go into a little bit of the peak woo factor here for a second, how much do you think maybe, like we talked a little bit earlier, could be walking into a new dimension, a new timeline, or is it something extraterrestrial that is just causing these people to disappear?
Could be all of the above. I mean, there are scientists and physicists out there that swear and declare there's another dimension. There are those same folks have talked about parallel universes. They talked about portals. So yeah, I mean, I'm not smart enough to understand all that stuff, but it could be. But why? I mean, what would be the purpose of taking these people?
Well, that's the interesting part. What is the purpose? What is the point?
Yeah.
I mean, if it comes to extraterrestrials, you kind of get a little bit of an understanding regarding it, Butch. You really do.
Yeah. I just saw where Trippin put in there the DNA testing being used by the North Carolina woman. And the wildlife biologist has eliminated any wild animals indigenous to the area. There you go.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. How do we go about solving these mysteries? Because, people who go missing at, say, Yellowstone or something along those lines, it's strange. I mean, they found areas where people's shoes have been taken off. Most of the bodies, according to David Paulides and the research that he has done, most of the bodies that have been found are people who've been found alive. They're missing their shoes and their socks. Or when other bodies haven't been found or other people haven't been found, clothing has been found, on trailways that have already been inspected and re-inspected, and then all of a sudden you go back again and there's the clothes lying right in the middle of the trail. I mean, this is some weird stuff that's happening in the forest there.
Yeah, it is. And the thing that's really a pain in the butt is there is no good explanation. I remember reading one of Dave's stories where they were looking for a youngster, and they did eventually find what was left of him. He'd been gone for a long time, so it was pretty much just bones. But his clothing was all folded up neatly on a pile with his boots. Everything was like he put stuff away to go to bed. So who would do that? Now, some people say, you just got a bunch of these wild men running around and they're crazy, they're pedophiles, they're murderers, they're whatever, out of their minds, and they're doing all this stuff. Well, there'd have to be an awful lot of them. I mean, in David's book, 411 East, which is our area, and Pennsylvania's in there, we have 39 missing reports in Pennsylvania that David investigated. And now a couple of them are, kind of simple, where, the guy was 85 years old, he went hunting and he got lost, and, he had dementia and he just walked himself to death, and then he had people that were found that had heart attacks. But the ones that are interesting it was never an adult that they never found. The adults they seemed to find. It was the kids that were missing that they never found. And they were both boys and girls, and from ages of 5 to like 13 were the ones that were never found. I guess you could make a whole new type of investigation into these things like Dave did, but sometimes I think Dave tends to lean toward Bigfoot with some of these disappearances. And then, there's the other side of it where people say, oh, what would they want them for? Why would they take them? I don't know. It's the missing persons, whether it was in the human mutilations, it's not just here. Those human mutilations were taking place all over the world, and they went back into the 16th and 17th century. So, and they're still going on till today. So it's, why a human mutilation? Why would you mutilate a human like you would a cattle? And it's exact. The same parts were taken. So maybe the researcher down in Puerto Rico is onto something. Maybe it's some kind of a pheromone in the blood or in the tissue that it's being taken that these space brethren of ours need to survive. We don't know. There's just so much we don't know. I mean, there's so much we know, and then there's so much we don't know. And although that gets a little disheartening after a while, it's just keep at it, just keep on going. Look at everything. I mean, no matter how stupid it is, it's like I always tell people, when you're out looking for something, look for something that shouldn't be there. Don't look for stuff that is supposed to be there, like footprints and all that stuff. Look for stuff that shouldn't be there. And I guess there's so much to this world that we know, but there's so much more that we have no clue. We really don't have a clue. I mean, look at all the money that's been spent looking for Yeti in the Himalayas. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, there's been millions and millions and millions of dollars spent. And I don't know. I just don't know. I am just, I'm just hoping I can get one on a flirt.
But you also noticed a lot of similarities between these missing 411 cases that David Paulides has worked on and what you have worked on with the Todd Seas case.
Yes.
We got about 2.5 minutes.
Well, the thing with the Todd Seas case was he's a gentleman. I mean, we know when he was seen last, and then he disappears for 2 days. 200 plus searchers, cadaver dogs, state police, helicopters, the whole 9 yards are out looking for this guy. Fire departments, rescue squads, all over the place on this property. They don't find him. Then he's found on the second day on his own property, 50 yards from his house. There's a road that they had to walk up to get into the property. They walked right by this guy. Now, he's in advanced stages of decomposition. The temperature is 98 degrees. You would have smelled this guy a mile down the road. So they were walking past this guy for 2 days, or was he just put there overnight? Or was he just put there when nobody was looking? By who? Why? What? There have been sightings in the area of UFOs. We got that from the police. I mean, so was it an abduction gone bad? We thought about murder, but the thing there is, in that area where he lives, and all the rattlesnakes in that area, you could shoot something at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody would care. Nobody would hear you. Nobody would give a damn. It didn't matter. Just figure you ran into a snake or a bear. When we were up there, we ran into 2 bear. Thank God we were armed. Because it was a mama and a little one. So
yes.
She kept her eye on us.
No, I can definitely see that. We've ran into that up here with what we've done and everything. So, I mean, it's just very intriguing. And I guess the similarities between what you're seeing there as we prepare to go to break here, what you're seeing in the Todd Seas case comparatively to what has been seemingly going on in the world of missing people, whether it's in parks, lakes, and in their rural properties, whatever it may be. It just seems very, very strange, my friend. Very, very strange on the similarities. Butch, you hold on. We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month on this show. Butch's website is uforcop.com. That's uforcop.com. So we suggest that if you got a report or you want to find out more information, head to his website. It's hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. the SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi, George and Ori here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the program, we talk horror, paranormal, suspense. Author Ian Holt is back. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and on the digital side, everyone at Revolution Radio listening in, hi to you, along with Deep Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Space Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Canuckophobia. Canuckophobia is your password. It's a shot at me being Canadian. I know it. But the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping right now while you're listening in at our Spaced Out Radio store, and you can catch up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski. Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month, where we talk everything weird, strange, and just WTF in regards to cryptids, UFOs, aliens, and so much more. Butch, welcome back to the show. Really appreciate you taking the time. Your website is uforcop.com. Good to have you with us.
It's always good to be back. I really enjoy myself on this show. I just do. Of course, right now I'm scared to death because these people ask so many questions. I'm getting nervous.
Well, you know what? We've been talking about missing people all night long. And it's very interesting, and a lot of people have really started wondering what the heck is actually going on in the forest. One of the things David Paulides says in regards to this topic is that the Forest Services really doesn't seem to keep a track record of people who've gone missing, nor do they, in his opinion, care. When you've looked into missing people's cases in state parks and everything like that, have you noticed that as well?
Yes. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. First of all, you're talking about money, the root of all evil. They figure if you start pushing stuff like that, like here in Pennsylvania, we have mountain lion. Our game commission swears and declares we have no mountain lion, yet we have pictures. They have pictures all the time. They have kills that have been found, and they don't want to put that out there because if you tell people that you got mountain lions running around, they're not going to spend the money to go to the state parks and vacation and all that other good stuff. And it's a shame. I mean, if I knew there was a predator of something in an area, I would definitely spread the word. But they just deny it. The one bipedal report that we had was but a few miles from a state game lands office, and the guy went right down there and told him what he saw, and the guy looked at him and said, we have trouble with big dogs around here. That's probably what you saw. The guy said, it was no dog. He said, don't tell me what it was. It was no dog. He said, I was looking at it through my rifle scope. It was no dog. And but that's their thing. I mean, they don't want to scare the public and keep the public from going to these state parks where there's a lot of money invested and they make a lot of money.
Is it just about the money, though? You know,
yes.
Because I guess the way I look at it, my area is filled with campers. It's a tourist area, especially during the summer and the hunting season in the fall. And the fact that there's grizzly bears and black bears and a lot of animals that could kill you up here, it doesn't scare a lot of people off from going camping. I think that's a pretty lame excuse.
Yeah, but see, down here, we don't have that type of, comparing Pennsylvania to British Columbia, it'd be like black and white. I mean, we have predators, we have wolves, we have coy wolves, we have black bear, we have those type animals here too, but not the way that you would have them in British Columbia. I mean, I don't know the numbers of how many bear we're taking this year out of Pennsylvania, but there's no limit on bear as far as size or anything like that. So it's like our deer herds. I mean, we have the largest deer herds around, but these parks charge big money. You know, you're going to park a camper in there for a week or two, and you're going to pay. And if the word's out that area you're going to be parking your camper in with your kids running around all day, it's got a mountain lion loose or a black bear in the area, they're not likely to be parking their camper in that parking spot for a long time.
It's just strange, Butch, that it would just be about the money. And I can understand the fear aspect because you don't want the reputation. The reputation, is something that can affect anything. It really can. It doesn't matter who, what, where, when, why. It's just a matter of trying to put it all together as to why they would not announce that there is a problem. I mean, there's literally hundreds of people that nobody has ever seen again under strange circumstances. Like bodies found 12 miles from where they were last seen or disappeared, or there was a last clue of them. How did they get there so fast?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's when it comes to missing persons, there's so many unknowns. I mean, we know a lot, but there's so many unknowns, like they basically disappear before other people's eyes, and it doesn't have to be in the woods. I mean, it's happened in parking lots. It's happened on private driveways. It's happened in cities. It happens in towns all over the country, where people are here one minute and they're gone the next, and they're never found. I mean, it'd be different if the body was found, or if maybe they had dementia, they just walked away, or they had some kind of medical emergency, and that just got them out of the area. I can understand all that, but when you are dealing with a case where a person's there under the eyes of other people, and then the person's not there anymore ever again, that's just bizarre to me. I mean, that's why when people talk about other dimensions and parallel universes and this, that kind of stuff, I don't snicker. I don't laugh. I don't, make any joke about it, because is it possible? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. And if you're going to do this type of research and investigations and you don't keep an open mind, go open up a hot dog stand somewhere. You'll be better off, because this will keep you thinking day and night. What could have happened? How could it have happened? Where could they have gone? Did something take them? Did they go off on their own? Did they fall in a pit somewhere? I mean, I read one researcher's thing where he said people walking out in the woods, they fall into old, mine holes and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm sure that stuff happens, but not everybody. Not everybody. And it's just one of those things where we just got to keep looking and try to get more evidence. I mean, Pallades is doing a great job as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this guy has really had it. And there are a couple others. We're kind of new to the missing persons, and the only reason that we got into the missing persons is because of the human mutilation stuff, where the missing persons came up all the time. So that's how we got into it. But there are people out there that, you know, they're going back and looking at cases that are years and years and years old, trying to put together and make some sense of why or how the person disappeared or persons disappeared. But there are so many cases, like, and I'm going to say recently on this, and when I say recently, I'm going to mean the last 4 or 5 years, that we've been getting stories from the indigenous in the Southwest of people missing that knew the area very well, grew up in the area, so it wasn't like they were going to walk out into the mountains or the desert and get lost. That, you know, go out and they're never seen again. One that comes to mind real quick is 2 gentlemen who lived on a reservation and went out to hunt, set up their camp, got their fire going, you know, getting ready to make their meal for the night, get settled in, and they didn't come back for 3 days, so they sent a party out to hunt for them. They found the camp. The fire, of course, was burned out. The food was still on it. It was never touched. The camp was in good shape. There was the camp wasn't destroyed or anything like that, and they were gone, never seen again. So, why?
Let's talk about these portals. Do you believe then that there is the potential of different dimensions or portals out there that are sucking these people in, and maybe they don't even know it, that it's happened, because when they walk through, they're continuing down the trail, even though it may be the same time, same place, but a different timeline?
Sure. Of course. Look at the recent reports of just the last 3 years. We went back a little further than that, but just the last 3 years, we have seen reports of Bigfoot sightings where there's nothing there, there's a flash of light, there's a Bigfoot. We've had reports where there's a flash of light where they were viewing a Bigfoot and there was no Bigfoot after the flash of light. So is it possible there's a portal being entered and, you know, in and out? Yeah, possible. Why would there be a flash of light? There's only one story we have, but that's in Alaska. One report where I think Inuit hunter out for seal, and he was talking to his buddy, and the buddy said there was a flashlight, and he was gone. Never seen him again. So, are there portals like that? Could there be portals like that? Sure, why not? You know, we claim to know a lot about what we research and investigate, but when you come down to it, we know very little. I mean, there is so much stuff out there that we don't know about. There are new animals being discovered almost every day, and it happens in all type of weather, cold, heat, sunshine, rain, doesn't matter. It's just bizarre, and I guess it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating to me when I can't come up with an answer or even get close to an answer on what could be happening. But you know, it's just not in the woods. Like I said, it happens all over. It's not just the woods like a lot of people think it only happens in the woods. No, this stuff happens in parking lots. It happens in downtown, metropolitan areas, happens out in the country, farms. But what happens, nobody knows. And again, even if you witnessed it, what would you say? He was there and then he was gone. You know, he was there, I was looking at him, and he disappeared. Okay. What'd that get you?
Is the strange oddity, though, that this is happening at the blink of an eye without a trace. People who have never had health problems with depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, anything along those lines. It's just poof, they're gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just like a cartoon. Boom, gang, gone. I keep going back to this case with the kids or the young people at the bar. I mean, they were looking at the guy. They all swore and declared, yeah, he was standing right there at his car, and he didn't come back. And they walked over to the car, which was just like 30 feet away. And the keys were laying on the ground, but he was gone. Never seen him again. No struggle. Nobody else was in the parking lot. There were 6 cars in the parking lot. They saw all 6 cars. They saw him standing at the car on the driver's side. And then when he didn't come back in a few minutes, they walked over. They thought maybe he got drunk, fell over, he had too much to drink, or maybe he tripped and fell. I mean, they had all kind of excuses to go over there, but they went over and he wasn't there. He was just gone and still gone. And the thing, I guess, that drives one researcher nuts, he just wants to know, where did they go? Where are they? Another question.
That is the big question. Where do they go? And, we can look at all sorts of factors here as we have tonight, whether it's aliens, portals, dimension shifting, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Do you think these people who go missing, just like that, at the blink of an eye, do you think they're dead somewhere, or that they are continuing on like life? Nothing ever happened. Nothing changed.
That could be too. Yeah, I mean, that's been brought up a number of times where, they may walk out in the 80s and disappear and wake up in the 30s, or come back into the 90s or the 2000s. Nobody knows. I mean, or they may just come into something altogether that we don't even know about. If it's a parallel universe, they would come back in the same time, wouldn't they? Just in a different place.
How come none of them come back? We never hear reports if they have jumped timelines or walked into a different dimension or a different portal. How come we never see any of these people come back?
I don't know. Don't know. Maybe it's just a one-way street, You enter, but you don't come out. And what do they enter into? Are they entering into what they are into right now before they get into that situation? Do they go back in time? Do they go forward in time? Or is there no time at all? Is it just like suspended animation? We don't know. There's just so much we don't know, and it's frustrating. It makes you crazy after a while. You try to find an answer, and you use up all the investigative and research knowledge you've gained over all these years to come up with just a scenario that maybe this is a possibility, or maybe that, and just doesn't go that way. I mean, they're just gone. There is just no way to explain it other than they're gone.
How do we find out more? If you had the ability to do it as the researcher, how would you like to find out more about this?
Well, here's the sad part. A lot of these cases, missing persons cases, once they get to the police, they just go on a pile. That's it. Nobody's out there looking for these folks. I mean, if it's something that, a search party is out looking for something, a missing child or an old person walked away, that kind of stuff. But I mean, somebody that disappears like that and there's no rhyme or reason to it, that just goes on a pile. That just becomes a number. Nobody's looking for them. We found so many cases like that. It's nuts. I mean, it's just crazy. Hell, there's a town in Illinois. I can't even think of the name of the town anymore. Just a little town. They've had like 10 people go missing in 5 years. So the first thing it came up with was, well, they had some serial killer. Well, that'd be fine if you found the body, but you never found the body. You never found their clothes. You found their cars. The car's sitting there. They got cell phone in it. The guy's wallet's in the glove box. Everything's there, but he's not there. So there's no sign of a struggle. There's no blood. There's no damage to the car or anything like that. He's just gone. Car's parked along the road, and he's gone. Everything's there but him. So where'd he go? And then there's and then there's the other side of the research where people just absolutely believe if the person's missing, they were taken by aliens, which is kind of bizarre that they think that way because there's so many other things that could have happened or could happen. So I don't know. I wish I had more answers, but there just aren't any. I mean,
right.
You watch somebody disappear. You watch somebody disappear in front of your eyes. What are you going to come up with?
Well, are we paying enough attention then, not only as researchers, but as a society in whole, that this is happening? Because it seems like for a lot of people, the only time they're paying attention to it is when it happens to someone in their family.
Correct. And that's the way it is. It's just, if it's somebody you know, then you're concerned. If it's somebody you don't know, it's just, a column in a newspaper, and that's it. That's as far as it goes. And there are people that really do research this stuff. I mean, there's a researcher over in England. I mean, he's been researching for like 40 years, and he hasn't come up with anything. And I forget how many hundreds and hundreds of cases this guy has gone through. And he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a thing.
Where do we go from here on this? Because we only got about 2 minutes left with you, and I think it's important to try and figure this out. What can we do differently?
Pay more attention. When something like this happens, that we try to gather all the information we can from the get-go, not 2 days from now, 4 days from now, right now. If it happened an hour ago, start documenting everything. Who, where, what, when, how, and maybe by dumb luck, something will pop up, like somebody will say, well, right before Joe disappeared, there was this beam of light that he was standing under, and then he just went away. Okay, at least we'd have that much. But most people don't really care. They don't. And like you said, unless it's a family member or a friend or somebody close, they could care less.
Butch, we're down to our final minute with you on Strange Days tonight. Your next appearance will be on Monday, March 25th, and we're always glad to have you along for the ride like we do each and every final Monday of the month. If people have any information to give you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can go to the website, euphoricop.com, go under terrestrial contacts. There's a place there where they can fill out the information to either send me information or ask for information, or if they need a phone call or anything like that. And I have one computer that's set up here to take that stuff 24/7, so I don't miss any calls. They can get me on Facebook under Butch Witkowski, under Euphoricop, under UFO Research Center, Pennsylvania, or JAAR Magazine. Any one of those will get me. Phantoms and Monsters, they can contact me on there. There's a button there that they can click on and submit a report or ask for information, or, I'm open to anybody. If you just need information or you just researching an old case or something like that, it's in our beta. If it's in any of our databases, I'll be glad to share it.
Very cool. Butch Witkowski, we'll talk to you on March 25th. Strange Days with Butch Witkowski. Wrapping on up. We're going to get to the news. We're going to talk about my latest blog and so much more on the SOR Newswire and the Thought of Dave coming up right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject, from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We've rounded third. We are heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio, as it's time once again at the back half hour of every show where we get to the weird, the wacky, the WTF in the SOR Newswire. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show to get to the weird, the wacky, the head-scratchers of the night. And with that, we are brought to you by Paranoia Magazine, which can be found at paranoiamagazine.com. Now, I'm starting a little bit of a new thing here on Mondays, as Olaf Phillips is going to go back into the guest rotation, and he's going to be joining us on the SOR Roundtable from now on. Olaf did a great job on the news, but just getting a little tired because he works a long day job as well. So I'm going to be filling in. I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to be running with the news tonight. And on Mondays, what I want to do here is I want to kind of go over my blog, because what I've started doing over the last number of weeks, in case you've read it, great. In case you haven't, you can go to spacedoutradio.com, click on the news tab. That's where we hide everything in the SOR Newswire. And I've written a blog every Saturday, and I'd love for you to read it, and I'd love to get your opinion on social media. So this week's blog, during Friday and Saturday, I got hauled into a Twitter conversation, if you can so-called have one, about ET abduction. And there was a couple of people on there that were absolutely adamant that everything to do with extraterrestrials was bad, horrific, terrible, the end of mankind, the alien invasion is going to wipe us all out. Yes, we heard it all on the massively popular Twitter. And it made me start to think, because one of the people who was there, a guy named Dave, good guy, I said to him, have you ever been abducted? He goes, no. So, well, aren't you kind of pushing a negative agenda when a lot of the statistics say otherwise? So all of a sudden, the bright light flashed in my head, and here I am writing a blog called, What is the Extraterrestrial Agenda? Now, it doesn't so much go into ETs, but what I do get into with it is the fact that in the 1990s, Dr. Stephen Greer came out, and I'm on record as saying, and I'll say it again, I'm not a fan of Dr. Stephen Greer. And so he will probably never appear on this show unless we have a conversation about it. But he was saying in the early 90s, when he was trying to push the whole disclosure movement back into 1998, that aliens and ET contact is very, very misunderstood. That the majority of experiences people are having are of a benevolent nature. That they are very, very intrigued with us as we are with them, and we all want to be the whole peace, love, and light aspect of everything. And that he had it confirmed by his sources in Washington, D.C. Now, of course, the alleged sources, we never know who they are, but his sources have said, the reason why we're not going public with this disclosure is because it would directly harm the military-industrial complex. We don't know the full agenda. We don't know who's good, who's bad. We're starting to figure it out. And then apparently it all fell to crap when 9/11 happened. Shut down the potential for ET disclosure. Now, let's fast forward 20-some years, where Tom DeLonge is the face of the To the Stars Academy, and in December 2017 goes on Joe Rogan and says, we got to put nukes in space. I'm paraphrasing here. We got to put nuclear weapons in space. The alien invasion is coming. These guys are bad. They are all bad. My sources in the United States government tells me that they are hideous towards mankind. Terrible. They are going to ravage our souls and eat our children for dinner. But here's the thing, and this is what I want you to think about. This is the purpose of my blog. In the 90s, U.S. government sources were telling Dr. Stephen Greer, ETs are good. Fast forward to 2017, Tom DeLonge says his United States government sources are saying ETs are bad, 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 bad. So how is this helping the agenda for extraterrestrial disclosure? This is why I always say to people, and I know some of you out there, especially on Twitter, roll your eyes every time I bring up this subject. But this is why I say, be careful of the agenda. Be careful of controlling the message in the media regarding this. Because here we have two prominent ufologists in Greer and DeLonge, both saying they have government sources, and yet their messages are polar opposite. So which is it? And it makes you wonder, is the government really playing us as people who have an interest in this field? Is it playing Greer on the positive aspect? Is it playing DeLonge on the malevolent aspect? Which way is the message going? And why has it changed in the last 20-some years in between the two? And when you're controlling the agenda, that also keeps the public going, because everybody knows that we are going to go absolutely haywire on social media about it. All right, we are going to go crazy over it. But the people that it affects is people like you and me. Okay? Those of us who have seen UFOs, those of us who've had a close encounter, a CE 1 through 5. Those of us who've been abducted, those of us who've been taken, and those of us who are just wanting to believe. What are we supposed to believe if the message continues to change? Now, what we have seen through Hollywood movies, the majority of them, video games, the majority of them, is the fact that there is a real negative ET agenda going out. Why is that? Why does DeLonge come out and say that? When once again, 20 years previous, Greer did not. And it makes me think that the message has changed. the message from the government. I could be totally wrong. I could be 100% wrong. I'm okay with that. I'd like to be wrong on this. But it just doesn't make sense. And this is where we in the field of ufology need to care, because we need to find out what that message is. And that's why we have to ask questions. We have to question the To the Stars Academy. We have to question MUFON. We have to question Dr. Stephen Greer. We have to question these people with high-quality messages, high-quality questions. Because if we don't, it's all of us that are being screwed over. All of us who want to believe or have had something happen that makes us believe. This is why it's important to continue to see why certain people are dodging interviews on shows like this and other shows like this, when they are picking and choosing who they will spread their message to. The mainstream media still does not want to cover this. You guys know that. We've gone over that numerous times. So take a read on my blog. Go to spacedoutradio.com, click on the news tab, takes you right to the SOR Newswire. And once again, my blog is called What is the Extraterrestrial Agenda? I'd love to read it, for you to read it. I'd love for you guys to give me a note on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, or on our Facebook page, Spaced Out Radio Show. Let me know what you think. I'm very intrigued about whether or not you think ETs are bad or not, or if the message is being messed up right before our eyes. Couple of really cool stories for you coming on up. Now, I realize that when you hit a certain age, the mind starts to go a little bit. But we're going to head over to the UK here for a second, where a grandfather, 90-year-old Bobby, well, he likes his yogurt. Loves his yogurt, lives for yogurt, eats yogurt every day. According to his wife, he goes through about 7 quarts of vanilla yogurt a week. This man cannot get enough. Well, apparently, old Grandpa Bobby decided that he could not find the yogurt. So what he did do was he found a quart of paint that looked like mint chocolate chip ice cream that had melted, like mint yogurt, green yogurt. So he emptied the half-empty can of paint, and, well, let's just say that his granddaughter laughed so hard over this that she, instead of rushing him to the hospital for paint and lead poisoning or whatever is in that paint, well, she put a photo of Grandpa and his mint green lips on Twitter, which so far has garnered over 330,000 likes. And yes, Grandpa was taken to the hospital. He was checked out. Realized that his mint chocolate chip and pistachio paint was paint and not yogurt. Tasted a little different, I guess. Apologize, this happened in New York, not the UK. But he's doing fine. He's doing absolutely fine. And apparently the doctors say that at the National Capital Poison Center that it's a water-based paint, could cause vomiting, but it is not going to harm Grandpa at 90 years old. So, yeah, be careful when we are around people who have a yogurt addiction, because we don't want them crawling into the cupboards of the workbench area and grabbing coats of paint and deciding to munch on that for a while. Stay away from the candy apple red. It's not candy apples. Now, of course, we have to have a Florida story in here. This one happened a couple days ago at the Bonita National Golf Club. A lady named Joanne Sadowski decides that she's going to tee it up with her husband that weekend. And old Len and Joanne, they go out for a round of golf. So on the tee-off box, Joanne shanks her drive, and it heads towards the water. Now, of course, in Florida, you don't go get your ball near a water trap because it's filled with crocodiles and alligators. And apparently this line drive of a shank went so fast and a couple feet off the ground that this alligator did his best impression of trying to catch a foul ball at Yankee Stadium. The gator was watching the ball come in. The golf ball's coming in at a lightning speed. Jumps up, catches it in his mouth, and ate the golf ball. Now, the good news for Joanne on the golf course, because the alligator ate the golf ball, she actually was saved from having a penalty stroke for putting one in the drink. She got a free drop outside the water hole and continued on from there. So she was very thankful for this alligator jumping out of the water and snatching her shank golf ball in midair because it saved her a stroke. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. No word if she rewarded the alligator with anything good that it would actually like to eat for saving her that stroke on the course. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we put a question on our Twitter and Facebook pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What are your thoughts regarding people who just disappear under strange circumstances? Let's start off with Goddess Michelle on Twitter. She says, people who disappear under strange circumstances, well, some people choose to disappear, some come to a human-caused ends, and then there are some who are just gone. I feel there are more supernatural explanations for them, be it aliens or a form of crypto. We may never know. Yes, exactly. David states, if they're not fleeing prosecution, eloping with a mistress, or ducking out with company funds, I'd look to the world's number one abductors, the aliens. Why are we so predisposed to believe that all of those taken are returned? Good point. Let's get to Danielle. I think they walk into an unknown portal or something snatched them through a portal. Well, we just talked about that with Butch Witkowski. Paranormal Podcast states, my thoughts are, that's strange. Where did they go? Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Paradelphia states, fascinated by these stories. Missing 411 type disappearances. Bodies found where previous searched showed nothing. Kids missing in woods and wind up miles and hours away. Had one near Philadelphia a few years ago that I've been wanting to do a show on. Let's see here. We're going to move over to Facebook. Let's get to it. John, I think they walk into a portal into another dimension. My Labs is another interesting theory regarding this. Craig, strange, especially when they are found several days later in an area that has been searched. Stranger yet when they seem unaware of how long they've been gone or say a bear watched over them. AJ, government, aliens, time travel, the list goes on. Gary, well, maybe to get away from their wife or husband, or they just want to start over. I mean, who knows? That's a good possibility as well. John, I guess it really depends on an individual case. Gail, I think there must be more than one cause. Human trafficking is a huge issue. ET kidnapping is not out of the realm of possibility. Perhaps stumbling into another dimension through an accidental portal should be considered. And then the possibility someone just wanted to start over. Teresa, They're being abducted by the CIA for MKUltra. I kid you not. JJ, even here in Newfoundland, there have been a few that have just disappeared. October? It was aliens. Oh, the aliens take the fall for everything. You ever notice that? They just take the fall for everything. Tim, portals, dimensions, way too many occurrences, especially the young kids who end up way too far away beyond reasonable distances. Adults, too. Heather, portals in the earth, kidnapping for experimental purposes by aliens, and time travel. Russ believes they're gone to another dimension. Michael says, don't know, they're probably somewhere. Good call, Mike. Evan, depends on the circumstances, I suppose. More often than not, people disappear because they don't want to be found. Nothing paranormal about it. Stunak says, I was absolutely stunned by the numbers every year. Where can this many people disappear to without a trace? Kelly, peyote party with a family of Sasquatch. Final word goes to Mr. Chris George Zuger. It's because they've deleted Facebook. That's it. There's the answer. Right there. It's all about leaving social media, and poof, they're gone. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time. We want to say thank you to Paranoia Magazine for being sponsor of this part of the show. Big shout out to Mr. Butch Witkowski, the leader, investigator, and founder of UFO Cop, who comes in to this show the final Monday of every month with a show we call Strange Days. Butch's next appearance will be Monday, March 25th, as we start to wrap things up here. Tomorrow night on the show, Ian Holt is back. We're going to get into horror movies, paranormal, suspense. Might even touch on the Oscars and all the bloody over-singing that is going on there. I was going to talk about that tonight. I will get into it tomorrow. Man, I need to rant on that. 9 p.m. Pacific. Make that 9:06 Pacific. 12:06 a.m. at Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everyone listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers, Revolution Radio, and on Spreaker. Wherever you may be, thanks for taking part tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures. Thanks for telling your friends, doing your part to make us bigger and better each and every night. Because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.